Welcome to Nacht Stories. I invite you to sit back and enjoy these eerie and uncanny tales. Vanished in Verdant Hollow. They say people don't just disappear. That's what the sheriff told me when my sister vanished in Verdant Hollow. But I'm here to tell you, they do. And they do it fast. It was October 17th. Cool, crisp, with that kind of damp bite in the air that smells like wet bark and the end of summer. My sister Lila and I had gone hiking. We weren't survivalists or anything. We just liked getting away from the city. Verdant Hollow was one of those forgotten places, a forest preserve without a sign, barely a pin on the map. The kind of place locals shrug about and say, "Not much to see." We parked off a gravel road. No one else was around. Lila was excited, more than usual. She said she had a surprise to show me, something she found the last time she came alone, but she wouldn't tell me what. Just grinned and kept walking. About 2 hours in, we veered off the main trail. It wasn't like her to do that. She was always the cautious one. But she said, "Just trust me." You won't believe it. The forest got denser. The light started to filter strange through the canopy, and everything smelled sweet, too sweet, like decaying fruit. I remember stopping and saying, "Lila, are you sure this is right?" But she was already ahead, just out of sight. I heard her laugh once, then nothing. I called for her, walked in circles, shouted until my throat went raw. I even joked, "Okay, you win." Great prank. Still nothing. Eventually, I called 911. Search and rescue came, dogs, drones, you name it. But there was no trace, not even footprints. It was like the forest swallowed her. The cops grilled me, over and over. Timeline, details. Did we fight? Did she ever talk about running away? I told them everything. They didn't believe me. That's when I started looking into Verdant Hollow's history. And I found something. Between 1972 and 2006, there were 5 other disappearances in the area. All hikers, all in October, all reported within a mile radius of where I last saw Lila. The locals don't talk about it. One woman I cornered in the library whispered, "It's not the place, it's what's under it." I didn't understand until I went back, a month later, alone. I retraced our steps, as best I could. The light changed again, just like before. That same smell, that same wrong feeling. And then I heard her. Not a voice exactly, more like a hum. Familiar, like the sound she used to make when she was nervous. I followed it. There was a clearing, perfectly round, dead quiet. No birds, no wind, just a pit in the middle, maybe 6 feet across. And at the edge, her necklace. The one Dad gave her when we were kids. I didn't go in, couldn't. I brought the necklace to the sheriff. He called it staged, said maybe I planted it to keep the story alive. So now I'm here, telling it to you, because I need someone to believe me. Lila didn't just vanish. Verdant Hollow took her, and I think it's still hungry. But there's more. There always is. A few weeks after I found the necklace, I got a letter. No return address. Just a folded piece of yellowed paper inside. No name. Just one sentence, written in cramped, shaky handwriting. "You should have gone in." That night, I couldn't sleep. The words looped in my head like a song I couldn't shake. What would have happened if I had gone into that pit? What was down there? I started dreaming about it. The forest, the clearing, that humming sound. Every time I got close, I'd wake up, drenched in sweat, heart pounding. Then my apartment was broken into. Nothing stolen, just disturbed. Like someone walked through it, slowly, deliberately. I found muddy footprints by the window. And on the mirror, a smear of that same sweet-smelling muck from Verdant Hollow. The cops were no help. Called it a coincidence. maybe a prank. But who breaks into someone's place just to move things around and smear mud on a mirror? The truth is, I think someone, or something, followed me back. I haven't been back to Verdant Hollow since, but I can't stop thinking about it. Sometimes I hear that humming again. Not in my dreams, when I'm awake, in my own home, in broad daylight. Maybe I'm losing it. That's what my therapist says. Trauma, grief, guilt. But then, last week I found another note under my door. Same paper, same handwriting. This time it said, "It's almost time." So now I record this as a kind of record, a warning, because I don't think it's done with me. And if you ever find yourself near Verdant Hollow, if the trees start to hum or the wind carries that sickly sweet smell, turn around. Don't go in, because some places remember, and some places feed. Echoes in Pine Creek. It was supposed to be a weekend getaway. Me, my partner Evan, and 2 days in the mountains. No cell service, no meetings. Just us, the forest, and the kind of silence you only get when the world forgets about you. We chose Pine Creek because it was remote, tucked into the northern edge of Wyoming's wilderness, the kind of place you had to really want to find. Evan found it online. Hidden gem, he said. And God, it was beautiful. Towering pines, winding trails, and at night the stars fell over you like a blanket. The first day was perfect. We hiked for hours, set up camp near the creek, made a fire. Evan always brought too much gear, solar chargers, a drone, even his old Nikon. He said he wanted to document everything. I told him I preferred to just be there. No filters, no distractions. But the next morning, he was gone. I woke up to birdsong and an empty tent. His pack was gone. Camera, too. I thought maybe he'd gone to take photos. I waited an hour, two, called his name. Nothing. At first, I wasn't worried. Evan did this sometimes, wandered, got inspired. He'd once vanished for 5 hours in Iceland chasing auroras. But by noon, I was pacing. By 2, I was screaming his name into the trees. I found his tracks heading north, along the creek. I followed them for over a mile before they just stopped. No scuff marks, no signs of a slip or struggle. Just nothing. Like he evaporated. I turned back to camp, tried to stay calm, made coffee. Thought maybe he'd show up with some epic story. He didn't. That night I stayed up by the fire. Every rustle made my heart jump. I kept thinking about bears, or worse, people. By morning I packed up and hiked out. The ranger station was 3 miles away. I ran most of it. They launched a search within hours. Dogs, helicopters, volunteers. They found our camp, his tracks. And then nothing. It was like the forest swallowed him. That's when things got strange. I gave my statement, described everything, but the ranger kept asking the same question. Why were there 2 sets of tracks heading north, but only 1 set ever came back? I told them I never went north without him. I followed his trail. That was it. They didn't believe me. I was questioned, over and over. Did we argue? Was he unhappy? Did he seem unstable? I said no, and it was true. We were good, really good. They searched for 10 days, then they stopped. Evan was declared missing, presumed dead. But 2 weeks later I got a text, blocked number, no ID, just 4 words. He found the cave. I didn't show the police, didn't want to be dragged through another round of interrogations. Instead, I went back. I know how that sounds, but I had to. I had to see. I brought maps, gear, marked the spot where his trail ended. It took hours, bushwhacking through overgrown brush. But eventually, I found something. A narrow gap in the rock wall, barely 3 feet wide, almost invisible if you weren't looking. but inside, it opened into a hollow, big enough to stand in, and there, scratched into the wall in frantic, jagged lines, was his name, Ivan, over and over, dozens of times, and something else. It's not alone. I stumbled out of there, shaking. I don't even remember getting back to the trail. I didn't sleep that night. Every noise outside felt closer, like something had followed me out. The next morning, I found a photo in my pack. One I didn't take. One that hadn't been there the day before. It showed Evan, deep in the woods, eyes wide, flashlight in hand. And behind him, something else. Tall, thin, wrong. I burned the photo, but I still see it. I haven't told anyone this until now. Because it sounds insane. Because it is insane. But I need you to understand. He didn't just disappear. And he didn't die out there. He found something that wasn't meant to be found. And I think it wants me now, too. If you hear about another hiker going missing in Pine Creek, if you see a camera half buried in moss, or find a name scratched into stone, turn around. Run. Because not everything in the woods is meant to be discovered. And some things, remember your scent. The disappearance of Emma Lark. I still remember the last summer we were all together, the summer Emma Lark disappeared. It was the kind of July you read about in novels. Maine was painted in its best light, endless pine trees, soft skies, ocean air drifting inland, and that golden hush before sunset. Emma was my best friend since middle school. We grew up 2 streets apart in Bar Harbor. Every summer, we hiked the trails in Acadia, swam in Echo Lake, and chased ghost stories after bonfires on the beach. But that summer, something was off. Emma had changed. Not drastically, just little things. She was quieter, jumpier, always checking her phone even when we were deep in the woods where there was no signal. She kept saying she felt watched. I laughed it off. We all did. We were 17. Drama came with the territory. The last time I saw her was July 19th. We were hiking Beach Mountain. Nothing too crazy, just a few miles of trail with a fire tower at the top. Emma had brought her dad's old Nikon camera and kept taking photos of the trail behind us. I teased her. "You trying to catch Bigfoot?" She didn't laugh, just said, "No, something else." We reached the summit around 5 p.m. She climbed the fire tower while I sat below, drinking water and scrolling through old texts. When she came back down, she said she needed a few minutes alone, wanted to go back down part of the trail by herself, said she dropped something. Her necklace, maybe. I waited. 10 minutes passed, then 20. I called her name. Nothing. I started walking down the trail. Still nothing. After an hour of searching and shouting, I ran back to the parking lot and called her mom. Then the police. That night, they started the search. Dogs, volunteers, even a helicopter. No sign of her, no footprints, no dropped necklace. Just gone. The weirdest part? The photos on her camera. They found it a day later, wedged between rocks off the main trail. It had 33 pictures on it. Most were normal, trees, us hiking, some blurry shots of the fire tower. But the last 5 were different. They were of her, taken from behind, from the woods. Like someone was following her. The last one showed her at the base of the tower, with a shadow in the trees, long, thin, too tall. No one could explain it. The rangers chalked it up to a trick of the light. Emma's disappearance was ruled an accident. Maybe she fell, got lost, attacked by an animal. The forest keeps its secrets, they said, but here's what keeps me up at night. 3 weeks after she vanished, I got a letter. No return address, just a piece of paper. On it, in block letters, "She's not lost. She's waiting." That was it. I showed it to the police. They said it was a cruel prank, probably some bored kid with no empathy. But I knew better. I know Emma's handwriting. I know her all-caps E's. It was her. I went back to Beach Mountain the next morning. I followed the trail down past where we last stood, off the path, into the undergrowth. I don't know what I was looking for, a sign, anything. Instead, I found a circle of stones, perfectly shaped, arranged in a spiral, and in the center, Emma's necklace, the one she thought she'd dropped. I didn't touch it. I ran. For weeks after, I heard things, at night, in the woods behind my house, a low hum, soft footsteps. Once I thought I saw someone standing at the edge of the trees, tall, still, just watching. I moved out of Bar Harbor a year later, went to college, tried to forget, but every year on July 19th, I get a message. Sometimes it's a letter, sometimes an email from a burner account. Once it was scratched into the paint of my car. Still waiting. They never stop. I don't know what Emma found in those woods, but I think it's still with her, and maybe, just maybe, she wants me to come see it too. So I'm telling you this now, as a warning. If you ever hike Beach Mountain in the summer, and you feel like someone's behind you, don't turn around. Just keep walking, because some trails don't lead out. The boy at Finch's Market. I didn't expect much from my summer job. Finch's Market wasn't glamorous. It was a dusty little convenience store on the edge of town, one of those places that seemed stuck in the 80s. Peeling linoleum, humming fluorescent lights, and a cigarette machine that probably hadn't worked since before I was born. I was 17, saving for college. Night shifts were quiet, usually just a couple of late drunks and truckers grabbing gas or coffee. It was boring, sure, but safe. At least that's what I thought. Then came the night of July 11th, the last time anyone saw Tyler Grant. Tyler was 2 years younger than me. A quiet kid, worked evenings a few times a week, stocking shelves and running the register. He liked baseball, was decent in school, and always wore those beat-up Converse with the stars drawn on the toes. He was covering for me that night. I had a family thing, and he said he didn't mind. It was a Thursday. What happened next still doesn't make sense. The morning manager, Denise, showed up at 6 a.m. to open the store. She found the lights still on, register open, and half the snack aisle restocked. But no Tyler. His phone was behind the counter, his backpack in the office. The CCTV camera was still running. The footage was off. Around 2:17 a.m., Tyler's seen restocking chips. He glances toward the front window, freezes for a full 10 seconds, then walks to the door. He opens it. No one's there. He steps outside, looks around, and says something. You can't hear it, obviously. No audio. Then he takes 2 steps forward and just vanishes. I don't mean out of frame, I mean literally gone. No blur, no movement. One frame, he's there. The next, nothing. The cops thought it was a glitch, but they searched the area. No tracks, no signs of struggle, no blood. Just one thing. The parking lot security light, right above the door, was shattered. No glass, just a blackened socket, like it had been burned out from the inside. The footage made local news. Some called it a prank. Others said Tyler ran away. But the weirdest part came a few days later. A hiker found something in the woods 3 miles behind Finch's. A shoe, Converse, star drawn on the toe. It was perched neatly on a tree stump, like someone had placed it there. And underneath, carved into the wood, still here. They brought in dogs, helicopters, nothing. Not a trace. But here's what no one outside the store knew. 2 nights before he disappeared, Tyler told me something strange. We were stocking drinks in the back, and he looked over and said, Do you ever feel like the lights flicker when someone walks by? Like someone you don't see? I laughed. This place is old. It's just bad wiring. But he wasn't joking. He said he kept seeing things in the reflection of the cooler doors. Shapes. People that weren't there. I didn't believe him. Told him to get more sleep. Now I think he was telling the truth. Because last week I went back. I hadn't been to Finch's since the summer it closed. It's abandoned now. Graffiti on the windows. Shelves torn out. But the CCTV system was still there. And when I turned it on, don't ask me why, I saw something. New footage. From 3 nights ago. Empty store. 2:17 a.m. The same timestamp. Only now it shows me. Standing behind the counter. Stocking chips. Freezing. Looking at the door. Walking toward it. Frame by frame. Until I disappear. Just like Tyler. The thing is, I haven't been there in years. But the tape says otherwise. So now I'm telling you this, in case you ever find yourself driving past a forgotten little store on Route 12, just outside Millhaven. If you stop for gas and the light over the door is flickering, keep driving. Because some places remember, and some things inside them are still waiting. The last light in Delta Hall. There's something uniquely eerie about a college dorm in the summer. Empty hallways, quiet stairwells, doors that echo when they close. Most students go home, but a few stick around. Internships, summer classes, campus jobs. I was one of them, and so was Lila Hayes. She was a junior, psychology major, member of Delta Nu sorority, bright, driven, and, if you believe her friends, too trusting. Lila stayed behind that summer to help with sorority house renovations and prep for fall recruitment. I was working campus security, mostly desk duty and late-night patrols. That's how I ended up being one of the last people to see her alive. It was June 17th. She was alone in Delta Hall, her sorority's wing of the dorms. Most of the girls had cleared out by early May. Lila had the top floor to herself. I remember thinking it must have felt like a castle or a crypt. That night, around 9:30 p.m., she called campus security. Said she heard footsteps in the stairwell. When I got there, she met me at the front door, embarrassed. Probably nothing, she said. Maybe echoing from outside. We walked the halls. No one there, nothing out of place. I joked about ghosts. She laughed, barely. But then she said, I've been hearing things all week, doors opening, lights flickering. I thought maybe it was the wiring, but now, I don't know. She paused. Last night, someone knocked on my door, twice, but no one was there. I offered to file a report. She declined. Just check on me later. Maybe around midnight. I said I would. I didn't. I got pulled into a situation across campus. Drunk freshman, fire alarm. Nothing serious, but I forgot. The next morning, Lila didn't answer texts. By noon, her friend Emma reported her missing. Her laptop, purse, and phone were still in her room. Lights on. Mug on the desk. Half-finished email open to her advisor. But no Lila. The door was locked from the inside. There was no sign of struggle. No fingerprints besides hers. No unusual entries in the keycard log. Just nothing. Campus police brought in local detectives. They pulled the building's security footage. At 11:47 p.m., the hallway camera outside Lila's room showed her opening her door. She looked down the hall, said something, like she was talking to someone, then stepped out of frame, and never came back. They rewound the footage. No one else had come onto the floor, no keycard entries, no footsteps in or out of the stairwells. But at 11:46, the lights flickered, and for one frame, just one, you could see a figure. Tall, thin, no features, just an outline, not made of flesh, more like shadow, standing at the end of the hallway, and Lila walking toward it. That footage never made the news. The university shut it down, called it an unresolved disappearance, suggested mental health struggles, claimed she may have left campus voluntarily. But I know what I saw, and I know what I found later. 3 weeks after she vanished, I was doing a late-night walkthrough. Delta Hall had been locked since the incident, but one night the alarm triggered. A door, Lila's door, opened on its own. I went up. Room was cold, unnaturally so, still untouched, lights still on, and on the mirror, written in condensation, as if someone had breathed on the glass and traced letters with a fingertip. Still here. That's when I started having the dreams. Always the same. A long hallway, empty dorm, one light flickering at the end, and footsteps. First hers, then someone else's, and then mine. I tried to quit the job, but the university kept quiet, pressured me to stay silent, NDA, threats, you name it. I left town a month later, moved 2 states over, but I still wake up at 11:47 p.m., almost every night. Sometimes the hallway outside my apartment creaks. Sometimes my bathroom mirror fogs, when there's no steam, no shower. And once, I swear, I heard her voice, whispering, "He's still in the hall." So if you're listening to this, if you go to that campus, or any campus, and you ever find yourself in an old dorm, alone, with the lights flickering, don't open the door. No matter who you think you hear outside, because not everyone who disappears is truly gone. Some are just waiting, and some aren't alone. Thank you for joining me for our nocturnal tales. I'll hope to see you again and wish you all a good night.